Hello, welcome to this update for Oceania. So today is Sunday, July 13th. We do have a front around Tasmania, spots of southeastern Australia, and also some fronts around New Zealand as well, with some snow in the mountains and more rain. Especially as we're going to Monday, July 14th, there'll be this big low pressure system that develops north of New Zealand. And this cold front will affect Fiji too. So today's like Sunday night already there. So during the next few hours, expect some stronger storms in Fiji until Monday morning. And also in Tonga by Monday afternoon. So this shows around Tonga until Monday night, some stronger storms, and there's this area of tropical showers and storms around Tuvalu and in the Solomon Islands. Those showers and storms just continue there, but this front might bring strong winds to Fiji and Tonga, so be careful. And also shows around tonight, Sunday into Monday, a little bit of snow in Tasmania, and by Monday shows this front in Western Australia, just some showers now. They are very weak, but shows Sunday here, like as you're going to Monday, some rain around Perth, a little bit of rain around Southern Australia. As you're going to Monday afternoon, shows in South Australia, some more rain possible. So Monday into Tuesday into New South Wales, and then this goes, but also in Tasmania by Wednesday morning, July July 16th, some rain as well, and possibly more fronts later because these fronts just continue around Wednesday into Thursday. Still shows some fronts southern Australia, and possibly around the 17th, a small front in the southwesternmost area in Western Australia. So be aware, but we'll keep monitoring these changes all the time. There's the GFS as well, shows this front during the next few hours there in Fiji and Tonga with some strong storms. And then this goes, and the remnant low pressure system dives down towards Waitangi in New Zealand. So be careful there as well, some strong winds by Monday night until Tuesday. And then this new front in New Zealand on the 15th with some snow, some rain there as well. So be aware Tuesday, this goes still some snow in New Zealand left over by Wednesday. And then the GFS in Australia has this front now into southwestern Australia Sunday into Monday, and some rain through South Australia throughout Monday night until Tuesday into New South Wales, and still some fronts later by Wednesday and Thursday in Tasmania. So be aware, and just looking some long range here, this is not reliable because this information changes the farther you go. But let's just see. But by the 19th, the GFS is another front, southwestern Australia, possibly a stronger one. And then this goes on the 21st, 22nd, some more rain southeastern Australia, and more fronts on the west later. But the GFS is this weird thing by the 24th, this belt of rain around central to eastern Australia. But like I told you, this is still too far out. Just be aware. We'll keep monitoring. And here, for like the European, shows these rain accumulations from Sunday today and all the way to Friday, the 18th, shows this rain for South Australia tomorrow on Tuesday into New South Wales, and later next week in spots of Queensland, southeastern Queensland, a little bit of rain as well, and a thunderstorm or two. So shows in Tasmania all the way to 57 millimeters from those fronts today and the front on Wednesday, and shows just some 27 to 10 millimeters southwestern Australia. Nothing crazy, but just better, worth watching those fronts. And long range until July 27th, the European does have more fronts on the west, like next 14 days to 126 millimeters, and Tasmania too. So those two areas especially, but all of southern Australia must watch for this. But that's very long range. Not reliable, like I told you. But here, there's the icon just for this week until Friday. It does have more around New South Wales, even some 80 millimeters on the icon. This way around South Australia in the front in those areas. So be aware, and especially here around Fiji, in terms of accumulation, doesn't show too much, but those storms might have strong winds because of this front. So this goes Sunday, especially in Tonga, might be some isolated stronger gusts around Tonga. So be aware. In Fiji too, especially be careful those thunderstorms. But might be slightly stronger the winds further south. So be careful, some large waves too, especially the rough surf, especially to the south of New Caledonia, around Burnt Pines, and more spots near southern Tonga and Fiji, some rough surf. So be aware, and around New Zealand, of course, because the heart of these fronts are right there. So be careful in those areas, and here for like snow accumulation does show more around New Zealand, especially around the South Island, shows close to some 16 centimeters until July 18th, until Friday, and shows some 21 centimeters, 32 spots of 12 centimeters. Further north in New Zealand, some 5. Does show the North Island to like 0.1 or like 1 centimeter, the European. But the GFS, yeah, the GFS wants to show something there as well. 1.3. The icon does show some 4 centimeters. So I know you've been waiting for snow there. Those sections of the North Island, you might have it. It might be very little, but you might have it. So shows more in the South Island. And in Australia until Friday does show some in Victoria, New South Wales in the mountains. So there might be some in around Tasmania, especially some 18 centimeters Tasmania. The GFS is even to like 19 to 18 centimeters Tasmania, even to 21. The GFS like 1 to 2 centimeters around Victoria, New South Wales. So be aware, the GFS does have a lot in the South Island, New Zealand, especially in the mountains. So be aware. The snow for wingers, let's see like the short range first, just until just this week until Friday. So the show now in Southeast Australia some stronger gusts in the mountains and around Tasmania because of this front. So be careful like right now. Sunday this goes more throughout New South Wales and some stronger gusts there and to the north of New Zealand because that's low pressure. So Sunday, Monday shows like this vigorous bomb cyclone out in the ocean might produce some very rough surf, so be careful in those areas and some strong winds further out to sea. So shows as this front exits Australia, these strong winds head into the Tasman Sea. But there's this other low pressure towards Waitangi by Tuesday, the 15th, some strong winds in Waitangi. And also by Tuesday, some stronger winds in the North Island, a few sessions the North Island, New Zealand. So be aware. Tuesday still on Wednesdays like the strong. The European has this low pressure passing just north of New Zealand by Thursday, the 17th. Slightly gusty winds further north. But by Wednesday, shows like this front, so let's go back to Monday. So the front goes into southwestern Australia. The strongest winds stay out to sea, but does show like sometimes in South Australia. Tuesday slightly stronger, and then Tuesday to Wednesday in Tasmania again shows some stronger gusts near Tasmania, and also just offshore of southwestern Australia too. So be aware Tuesday, Wednesday, possibly stronger gusts on Wednesday that they're in Tasmania, Wednesday into Thursday. So the GFS, a similar thing. The icon is even stronger there by Thursday, the 17th, even to 100 km per gust on the icon. The Europeans just around some 66 km per gust, but it does have strong winds as well. And still around Friday, the 18th, shows this front closer to southwest Australia, with some strong winds near the coast. So be aware. We'll keep watching and be careful around Fiji, Tonga, and those areas. So stay safe in those fronts. These temperatures are still cold in those areas, and I think they aren't that cold now because you will see what might happen in a few weeks. So shows like southern New Zealand Monday morning tomorrow is some active temperatures in the mountains. The rest is kind of chilly but not very cold. Some -2 central Tasmania spots in Victoria. So be aware in those areas. Interior of Australia, there's show some 6, 5 degrees, even 2 degrees in New South Wales, and more spots. So it's kind of coldish, except for the north. So still there's this belt of warm temperatures northernmost Australia. So good and BR. And there's this front in the south, this sharp temperature boundary there with warmer air further the northern half of Australia. So Monday into Tuesday morning shows maybe some frost and slightly colder in the southeast to -2 in a few spots. So be aware in Tasmania as well, some 2 to -1 in a few sections. And still New Zealand, southern areas of there of New Zealand in the mountains. So the show near the coast, some 5 degrees in Christchurch, but in other areas further inland, some active temperatures in the mountains. So this goes the show Tuesday afternoon, the 15th. Warm in Queensland, very warm in the Northern Territory into northwestern Australia. But Tuesday, this goes shows Wednesday morning colder there in southern New Zealand in spots there, even to like -5 in the mountains. So be aware, New South Wales still cold to -1, spots to -2 there, and interior areas to like 5, 4 degrees outside the mountains. So be aware Tuesday, Wednesday afternoon does warm up to 11 degrees in Canberra, 16 around Sydney, but still cold in New Zealand, in the mountains, even to -8. Then this goes by Thursday morning, decreases to -12 in the mountains in New Zealand. The GFS just around -2. That's a sharp difference. But the icon, yeah. So the European is very cold, but the other model aren't so cold. There's Thursday morning New South Wales to -1, many spots there, especially in the mountains, and further inland some 4 degrees, 3 to 4 degrees. So Wednesday, the show this the cold goes a little bit further inland to 0 degrees, more spots in New South Wales, some 5 degrees in Sydney, is 0 in Canberra. It does increase in the afternoon to 10 degrees, 16 along the coast, and still warmer northwestern Australia there. In the southwest, some 17 degrees in Perth in the afternoon. But this goes on Friday morning, the 18th. Nothing crazy in Western Australia, just some 4 degrees in interior areas, but does decrease in Southeast Australia to -5 Friday morning and colder in those areas. So be aware. This does warm up in the afternoon, but Saturday is still coldish with some frost in a few areas and still cold southern New Zealand, those areas there. So stay safe, be aware. Then Saturday still kind of cold in southern Australia, but still a lot in New Zealand by July 19th to -10 in the mountains. So we'll get colder there. Be aware, those areas, especially those fronts and everything. And in terms of temperatures, like the last week of July into August, there's this thing that some models have been showing around the South Pole, a sudden stratospheric warming event. So this when a part of the stratosphere suddenly gets way below above average temperatures in a part of the stratosphere near the South Pole, and this can disrupt the polar vortex and the jet stream. So here's like you can see this is July 14th. There's a part slightly above average on the European model, and then especially on July 21st, here you can see it very clearly. There's this part of the stratosphere near the South Pole, way above average temperatures at that level, so it's like 10 H, so it's very high in the atmosphere above the tropopause. So this is the stratospheric temperature. So here you can see the European model showing it way above average in those areas by July 21st until July 28th. This is like the weekly average, weekly mean anomalies. So this week around July 21st until like to July 30th or something, we might see this sudden stratosphere warm event. And what can this do to Australia and New Zealand? It can disrupt the polar jet stream and cause more cold snaps to come further north as the polar vortex is wobbly. So this might cause more cold in those areas in the last week of July. So here this is the GFS model for the same thing. So this side, like green blue, is below average temperatures in the stratosphere, and this is above average in temperature. So you can see this goes, and by like July 20th until July 27th, so this 19, 20. So this year's July 21st, the GFS showing some well above average temperatures in those areas as the southern stratosphere warm event takes shape. So this goes, and by July 22nd, you can see it very clearly, especially July 23rd, like well above average temperatures, a clear stratospheric warm event. So we're monitoring this closely. Nothing evident on the models for now in terms of cold snaps, but eventually on the last week of July, this might bring more cold, especially to areas like South America, South Africa, and Australia and New Zealand. So we're watching this closely, but just keep in mind that this is happening. And there's something else weird happening here in the Indian Ocean. There's a possibility of a short-lived tropical cyclone in the southern hemisphere. So you might be thinking, what the heck is happening? So it's because the Matt and Julian isolation is right over the Western Pacific that has been causing all those strong typhoons there in those areas, and there's a Kelvin wave behind it across the Indian Ocean that will bring even more favorable conditions. So although this part of the ocean is colder now because it's winter and there's more wind shear in those areas and everything, this Kelvin wave might try to favor something very short-lived in the Indian Ocean, but it won't affect anyone. So there's the GFS is showing like a low pressure just south of the equator, spots in the southern Indian Ocean. This goes, but it quickly dissipates there, so nothing to worry about. You just should worry about maybe if you are in the Western Pacific, in China, in those areas, but that's still kind of the GFS speculation. But here, there's the European model. It does show like 1002 millibar low pressure system in the southern Indian Ocean. So this might be an interesting feature to watch, but nothing to worry about. So be aware those areas. Just checking if there's anything else important, especially this heavy rain around a few sections of the Solomon Islands and Papua New Guinea still. So still be careful into Indonesia, Western Guinea, some heavy downpours, those tropical downpours in Papua New Guinea, and the Solomon Islands still passing showers and storms. You should always be careful. But around Tuvalu, there should 100 millimeters around Tuvalu next 5 days because this area of showers and storms is very active. So be careful around Tuvalu and those areas. Some strong thunderstorms and flooding. So be aware around the Marshall Islands. The same thing. The intertropical convergence zone is very active. There are some showers in Kiribati and a few thunderstorms too. So be careful. French Polynesia is kind of quieter, but still a storm or two, but mainly some winter showers. And further south you go, the higher probability for some cold fronts with thunderstorms. But the Cook Islands look kind of calm in the next few days, just a few showers. So be aware in those areas and yeah, stay safe. We'll keep monitoring this stratosphere warming event for future cold snaps and stay safe.